What is up, Gangrene Nation, Gotham City, all my Jets fans? What's up, guys? It's Tommy Jets, aka Thomas Christopher, and this is another episode of the Jets Pulse. I want to apologize that I wasn't able to get anything out last week. As you guys can probably see, I look quite exhausted. I've been traveling on the road a lot, doing a lot of flights for California, Texas, covering college football, and while it has been a blast, it has taken a severe toll on my mental health and well-being, as well as my physical health more than anything else. So I do want to apologize for that. Big news on the New York Jets front, but before we do that, make sure you guys are looking below, clicking the subscribe button, making sure you're liking, making sure you're commenting, engaging. I want to know how you guys feel throughout the duration of this video. I always respond back, whether it's a few minutes to a couple hours. I'll even respond back the next day if I don't see it beforehand. So I really do appreciate everyone's feedback when they do watch my videos and leaving me content that I can engage with. So with that said, first things first, I don't want to talk too much about it because I've talked about it on the Mac One podcast, which you can see on the Midnight Mike Show. It's MIDNITE Mike Show. You can find that on YouTube and him on Twitter as well. Great guy. Make sure you guys are following his Jets content. But we talked about that game a lot. All I'll say is, the Jets can't afford to be blanked in the second half. With an offense ahead, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. I'll even throw Lazard in there because he's been good this year. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Tyler Conklin, Aaron Rodgers. There is no reason that these guys should not be able to put up points. And the defense, listen, man, that was Russell Wilson's first game of the season. I don't know how you can't take advantage of a 35-year-old Russell Wilson and at least get him to run. Make him look human. Don't make him look like you turned back the clock. He was throwing dimes, man. Point blank, period. There's very little pressure on him. I know Will McDonald's been performing well, but outside of that, guys, there hasn't been too much to like on the Jet side of things, and that's just the facts. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. But I want to move forward because the Jets are already looking bad. Come on, 2 wins. Fortunately for them, this week they get a team they've already beat in the New England Patriots. But this time they'll be facing Drake Maye, rookie Drake Maye out of the University of North Carolina. We actually did a write-up on him on my website at theleaguewinners.com. And if you type in Drake Maye, the league winners, you should be able to find his prospect profile that I did on him there. I was a huge UNC fan. I love, Sam Howell and Drake Maye. And while I do think Drake Maye is beatable, I do have some concerns, especially against this Jets defense. One thing specifically is that the Jets can't get a pass rush. Now we have Haason Reddick, who's just finally joined. Whether Haason Reddick and Will McDonald will be able to consistently pressure Drake Maye is one thing I want to keep an eye on. One thing that really he struggled with at with the Tar Heels was pressure, and he would bail a clean pocket early in order to try to make a play with his legs. It'll be interesting to see if he has that same mentality going forward in the NFL, where guys are a lot faster, where guys are a lot smarter, where they're able to game plan sufficiently. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of defensive schemes that Ulbrich has cooked up, because I'm assuming he's going to disguise a lot of things. But with that said, on the back end, a lot of question marks on the back end if Sauce Gardner is going to be called with these DPIs, if his coverage is just going to, let's face it, not be good. He hasn't been good. Even without the DPIs, he hasn't been too great this year. He may not want to admit that. Jets fans may not want to admit that. Even, maybe people commenting might not want to admit that. You can say below if you disagree with me. I do think Sauce Gardner has lost a step in terms of his grade. I think he's gotten... It's the result of hubris. When you don't get when you're an elite quickly and you're not checked for a while, you start to believe your own stuff. And that's fine if you're 5, 6, 7 year veteran. Going into year 3, there's still a lot of stuff to prove. And I think that hubris has kind of gotten the best of Sauce right now. I just want to see him focus on football, just focus on getting training, training properly, getting back to his 1s and 2s, how he used to be, and be able to, quite frankly, play at the level we're expected of seeing him. One thing the Jets need in this game, though, they need turnovers. Let's not beat around the bush. The only Jet with an interception this year is Brandon Eccles, and he has 2 of them. Nobody else on the team has an interception this year. That's pretty pathetic. Supposedly, they've got 4 fumble recoveries. For the life of me, I can't remember any 4 of them unless it was some botched punt thing. I can't remember. If somebody can help me out with that, please let me know. But this is a defense that has issues taking the ball away. and they can't. They have to be better than that. That we got to see an interception. The Patriots don't have good receivers. When I talk to Marty Lyons, you guys can see the Marty Lyons interview that it's actually on this channel prior to the first matchup with the Patriots. Like Marty Lyons said, the Patriots don't have good wide receivers. Like, they have NFL talent, they just don't have elite NFL talent. Hunter Henry. I still will. My preview for this game will kind of be the same as the last game. Hunter Henry's going to play a big part. It's going to be up to Jamie Sherwood, CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams to be able to stop Hunter Henry down the seams up the middle. That should be what the Patriots take advantage of. Whether or not they want to do that remains to be seen. But with that said, like the rest of the guys on New England don't really scare me. I mean, Pop Douglas is all right. He's good out of the slot. But if Michael Carter's back, I'm not too worried about that. You know what I mean? Butte, Keyshawn Butte. He should be all right. Nothing really, spectacular. They have some decent guys. What is it? Polk? I think it's Jalen Polk. So they have some opportunity there. It's either Polk or Franklin. I keep confusing those two, the Broncos rookie and the Patriots rookie. So please forgive me. But that's guys. There's a lot of guys who need to grow. And with DJ Reed, Michael Carter, if DJ Reed plays, Michael Carter, Sauce Gardner, even on the back end, Jalen Mills has looked all right now. Tony Adams, I know Chuck Clark is out for a bit. Like, Chuck Clark has some stuff going on. Ashton Davis hasn't looked great, but this is a secondary that should be able to stop the Patriots without issue. If we can't stop the Patriots, that's a problem. But Drake Maye is going to test the back end. It's not like Jacoby Brissett where he's going to dink and dunk and play along the sidelines. Maye's going to try to toss it up. He's going to, and he's going to attack the middle of the field. That's just two things that I expect to see happen. I mean, if the Jets can stop, and the only problem is the reason why this game isn't as much of a gimme as I think it should have been. I know I said last night on the Mac One show it should be a gimme. Is the Jets can't stop the run. I know they had success last time they faced the Patriots. There was also a little bit of luck that went that way. The face mask call where Ramondre couldn't get his hand out and he ended up like breaking his finger and being out or dislocating it. See, something happened to his finger and he was out for an extended period of time. I know that there was issues on that end. Brissett's not a mobile quarterback, so it's a lot easier. But with Drake Maye, it's going to be a lot different. And if the Jets can't stop the run, then it bodes poorly for the outcome of that game. They still should win. The Patriots defense isn't great. I'll get to the Jets offense, Patriots defense battle in a minute, but the Jets defense should handedly beat the Patriots offense. One guy I need to see step up right now is Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams, I know he's been double teamed, but and I know that means that the other guys aren't doing their jobs, but you're supposed to be an elite talent, man. You are an elite talent, not even supposed to be. You are an elite talent. You have to play like it. The excuses are over. I know he's not a guy who makes excuses. He's owned up to his mistakes, so I salute him for that. But he's got to play like it now. Now is the time where he has to start playing like it. And if he doesn't, it's going to be so if he plays like it, Haason Reddick plays, Will McDonald plays. Those three guys alone should be able to generate enough of a pass rush where everything else can kind of come easier for the rest of the Jets defense. And if not, then I don't know what the Jets are going to do defensively. They're starting to struggle bad. You gave up 30 plus points to the Russell Wilson led Steelers. That was the most points they've scored all year. Just so, if anyone was keeping count, that was the most against the Jets. The Patriots or the Pittsburgh Steelers scored the most points they have all season with a quarterback who played his first game of the season. And that's not a game they should have lost. They just looking at the position across the board, really one of the only positions where Steelers may have had an advantage was T.J. Watt. Like where else would they have an advantage? Maybe tight end. Maybe if you consider Freiermuth better than Conklin. But and going into this Patriots game, it's kind of the same thing. It genuinely is like the same thing. Aaron Rodgers on paper better than Drake Maye. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, better than Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, better than all the wide receivers. I might lean Hunter Henry a bit over Tyler Conklin personally. But offensive line, Jets should have a better offensive line too. Defensive line, the Jets should have a better defensive line, linebackers, cornerbacks. The But this is where I want to, let me guys know who your key players on this defensive side of the ball. I'm going Quinnen Williams. I think Quinnen needs to disrupt the front middle of the Patriots offense in order to just let everybody else kind of eat. Even if he doesn't eat, and if we see him getting double teamed and just opening things up for Haason Reddick and Will McDonald, I think that'll be huge for the Jets defense. Now, let me guys know who you think is going to be the playmaker on the Jets for this Patriots matchup. And while you're at it, make sure you are subscribing to the channel. You're liking the video. Help me get that interaction, and I will interact back with you all, anybody who is commenting. So now let's go to the Jets offensive side versus the Patriots defense. One matchup I'm going to look at now. Well, now it's interesting to see who Christian Gonzalez is going to be up against, because I know Garrett Wilson scored a touchdown last time out, but Gonzalez was pocketing that man. He was locking him up pretty well. And even the touchdown from Garrett, it was a spectacular throw and catch that helped him get that touchdown. Because that coverage was great, man. Christian Gonzalez is the real deal. He might be one of my favorite cornerbacks out of that class. Easily. He might be one of my favorite players out of his class by far. The kid's a stud. So it'll be interesting to see if he shadows Devontae or if he goes to Garrett. Either way, the Jets have, okay, you're going to go with Devontae. We'll just throw to Garrett. You're going to go to Garrett. Let's throw to Devontae. And then we can mix in Allen Lazard, because I know Jet fans don't like the fact that Lazard is as good as he's playing this year. The guy's playing good, man. He's had a couple bad drops. I'll admit that. But still, before Devontae was here, he was the number one receiver. I know Garrett was getting the targets, but the production wise, it wasn't even close. Allen Lazard was just destroying them. So we got to utilize Lazard in this matchup as well. I would still kind of even do the same thing, the same game plan that the Patriots have against the Jets. I would do the same freaking thing to the New England Patriots from the Jets offense. I would try to establish the run, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and then I would just try to attack the middle of the field. I know Rodgers doesn't want to. That's not Rodgers' style. Rodgers is historically a guy that goes sideline to sideline. But this Patriots defense is weak. We got to be able to take shots down the field, down the middle of the field, just in the middle of the field. Give our guys as much space as possible, especially if we're seeing how Breece Hall doesn't really have, he has a breakaway speed, but he doesn't have the getaway speed anymore. He's not making guys that play, man. I don't know how many plays where Breece, it's been more than one now, honestly, where Breece has taken off and you're like, oh man, this should be a touchdown. And then he gets either tracked down or he makes a bad in cut. There's a video that somebody did. I'm gonna blank on the kid's name who did the video, but he did a video on Ezekiel Elliott looking back at pre-Zeke, from his all pro years to now, and Zeke cutting inside and doing certain stuff because he can't get away. Breece can get away at the beginning, but long-term speed now, he's kind of lost that. Not the same guy. I don't know if he's hobbled. Maybe there's something that we're not seeing or hearing about, but that's something that I feel like everyone's kind of noticing right now, is that he doesn't have that kind of speed anymore. And it's really disappointing, for him. I hope he's, I hope everything's okay with him and he gets back, because I do want to see the kid succeed. But it's something that we have to pay attention to as things go forward, not just as fans, but as things go on with the franchise, and potentially answering the question of if Breece is going to be the guy below. But with that said, my key to this game, I think it's going to be for offense, for the Jets offense. Key to this game, I am going to have to go with Garrett Wilson. I want to see this kid step up, man. I feel like he's had the yips. He's made some bad plays. Last week he had the ball bounce off his chest for a near pick six. He's just hasn't. His body control has been kind of bad along the sideline outside of that one touchdown play he had against the Patriots, oddly enough. Ironically. But still, he's not taken that ascension that we want to see out of him in his third year. Typically receivers, I know there's a lot of rookie to sophomore booms that people see. But typically for receivers, year 3 is the year that these guys take off. And right now we're kind of seeing a regression a little bit of Garrett. And if you guys have been following my show, I love Garrett Wilson. He's the only Jet on this team right now who I own a jersey of. I'll put it that way. And the last jersey I bought were these guys back here that you can see. I think I have a Santonio Holmes jersey from a while ago. I also have a Mark Sanchez. But point being, I haven't bought a jersey in over 10 years. And I bought Garrett Wilson. So if that tells you how much I love Garrett, that should be a clue right there. But he's my player to keep an eye on, for on offense. He's my key player because of the struggles that he's had this season. And I think that Christian Gonzalez ultimately is going to be shadowing Devontae Adams more than not. So we need to see Garrett have a breakout game as the second fiddle, but as the 1B. I guess we'll call him the 1B instead of the 2. And if he can do that, I think the Jets will not only win comfortably, like they'll blow the Patriots out of the water, because they don't have 3 Christian Gonzalez's, they have 1. And if Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson can both kind of just eat up the rest of those targets, and throwing a little bit of Tyler Conklin, Brees, blah, 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 blah. I think the Jets should have a lot of success. One thing, though, that does kind of worry me is how the Jets have been getting success thus far this season. But before we go there, please let me know who your offensive key player of the game is. I'm going Garrett Wilson. Please let me know who yours is. And while you're doing that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, comment, all that stuff, so we can get to some super fans, all of that great stuff, so I can start providing you guys content behind the scenes, which I want to do more of with film and things like that. I've taken the Monday montages off for now, just because of how much work is involved in doing those. And going forward, once we are able to get the memberships and things like that, I'll have some actual film content behind that paywall to our members. So please make sure you guys are subscribing, helping building the channel. Please let me know who your key player on offense is for this upcoming Patriots and Jets game. So as I was saying, one offensive kind of thing that's been performing well, oddly enough, that I don't really like is like all of these dump offs to Brees. I understand getting him in space, right? But it's the only thing succeeding, and it's kind of driving me mad. Not that, nothing against the play calls themselves, because they're working. They are working. It's getting Brees, a guy who needs to be in space, the ball in space. But, I feel like, if those are working, why isn't other stuff working? And there's something else going into play at that. I think that the Jets should be using Braylon Allen a little bit more as like their pure runner, and using Brees as the guy to get in space. I think that might be a little bit better. Maybe that's why we're not seeing as many opportunities, in the run game for them, because they're still not doing great against the run. A lot of these are dump offs or tosses and stuff to get Brees in space, but they're not like, they just want to be a power football team. Like they do. They really do. And they're not playing like one. That's not power, like screens and stuff. That's not power football. At least not the way the Jets are running them. With these little bubble screens, they're not running it, right up the gut. Like Brees is out running half these linemen. Like this, that's not power football. You know what I mean? That's not power football at all. He's making guys miss. The linemen aren't even out in front of him. They can't even get a run game going yet. So until they're able to do that, like I hope that they're able to incorporate maybe like a fake screen and then do a run or dish off to Braylon Allen or X receiver on the other side, tight end, even Conklin, having a fake screen and then having a secondary screen with Conklin would actually that'd be legit. I would love to see that incorporated. And also, if Aaron Rodgers is hurt, guys, why aren't we playing Tyrod Taylor? Seriously, if the guys come up on the injury report now with a hamstring, he's been getting dinged up every game. The Patriots should be a must-win game, and if we can't beat the Patriots with Tyrod Taylor, what are we doing? We like if we can't beat the Patriots with Tyrod Taylor, then that's a serious issue. Like you can forget. I've already forgotten playoffs. Like you can freeze and cold take me if you want. If the Jets would have to run the table. I don't even know if 8-2 is enough. Like, do you think 10-7 is going to be enough for a playoff spot? I don't. I genuinely don't. I think they'll have to be 9-1 or win the entire thing. And I don't know if that's possible, because after this Patriots matchup is a Houston Texans matchup on Halloween. And I know the Houston doesn't have Nico Collins, but CJ Stroud, I know Stroud had a bad game last week. I don't want to hear, people have bad games. Look at the Jets. They've lost 5 games. They're 2-5. You know what I mean? So let's like pump the brakes a little bit. And if the Jets have to go 8-2 to win out and be 10-7, that's that I don't think that's enough. I really don't. So put Tyrod Taylor in if A-Rod's really hurt. If he's not hurt, Roger, stop limping, man. Stop doing all this stuff. Like, we get it. If you're hurt, you're hurt. If you're that hurt, get the fuck out of the game. Seriously. Because I don't want to hear excuses anymore why these guys aren't winning games. And just because you're going to beat if you beat the Patriots, that's 2 games where you've won it, and 2 of them have been against the Patriots. All right, so let's keep that in mind. And going forward, let's hope that the Jets do better. And on top of that, let's hope that I do better. I actually should be able to have my Inner City Jets podcast out this Friday because I actually won't be traveling. My game is actually tomorrow, Thursday, where I'm going to be covering Syracuse versus Pitt in Pittsburgh. That should be a fun one. I'll be back Friday evening, I believe. So I'll have the Inner City Jets podcast out, maybe with a guest. Let's find out. But while you guys are doing that, make sure, once again, you guys are subscribing to the channel, liking the video, commenting. I'll always make sure to get back to you, whether it's, a minute, an hour, or a day from now. I always get back to everybody. I appreciate you guys checking it out. And this is another episode of the Inner City Jets Pulse. So until next time, thank you.